On a seemingly ordinary day one that did not stand out on any calendar, one that carried no special meaning, no cultural weight, and no astronomical significance, the world recorded a chain of events so bizarre, so statistically impossible, that historians would spend decades trying to explain how they all happened at the exact same moment. The story of these 7 events is not a tale of the supernatural, nor is it a narrative built on myth or conspiracy. It is a documented historical anomaly, preserved in logs, diaries, naval records, meteorological reports, and eyewitness accounts. The more deeply one looks into it, the more the coincidence begins to blur the line between accident and something much stranger. At precisely the same hour, across 3 continents and 2 oceans, clocks marked the beginning of an alignment of events that defied logic. It began with a lighthouse keeper who witnessed a ship appear on the horizon that had been declared lost a decade earlier. Moments later, on the other side of the world, a team of archaeologists unearthed an object they had no explanation for, a perfectly preserved metal disc with writing that did not match any known ancient language. Thousands of kilometers away, an astronomer recorded a burst of light in the night sky so short and precise that it lasted less than a heartbeat, yet bright enough to illuminate the desert around him. And while these 3 incidents unfolded, 4 more were occurring at the exact same time stop, each stranger than the last. The sudden reappearance of a man presumed dead, the synchronized stopping of dozens of mechanical clocks in a small European village, the unexpected thawing of a glacier section containing perfectly intact artifacts, and the discovery of a sealed letter written centuries earlier, but referencing events that hadn't yet happened. Although each of these events has its own separate documentation, separate witnesses, and separate physical evidence, the real mystery lies in how they intertwined so seamlessly. Historians would later argue that coincidences are simply patterns we create to comfort ourselves, but this set of coincidences was different, too sharp, too aligned, too synchronized. Every time researchers attempted to dismiss one anomaly as chance, another piece of the puzzle contradicted them. It was almost as if the planet itself had held its breath for 1 minute, and in that minute reality bent ever so slightly. The lighthouse incident was the first to be written about, primarily because it involved an object that could not be mistaken. A fully intact merchant ship drifting silently toward shore, its sails torn, its deck weathered, but its structure unmistakably matching the vessel declared lost in a violent storm 10 years earlier. The lighthouse keeper, a man known in the region for his meticulous journals, described the moment with unsettling clarity. He had read about the ship. Its disappearance had been a national tragedy, but recognizing it instantly sent a jolt through him. As he observed through the telescope, he noted something even stranger. There was no crew, no movement, no signs of life. Yet the ship advanced as though guided by an invisible hand. By the time a rescue team reached it hours later, it had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the keeper's journal and the time stamp that later would prove crucial. At the exact same moment, across a desert thousands of kilometers away, a group of archaeologists paused as their metal detectors emitted a sharp, unnatural tone. They dug carefully, expecting perhaps a fragment of ancient jewelry or an ordinary tool. Instead, they unearthed a circular metallic object with engravings, unlike anything they had seen. The disc appeared impossibly modern, despite being buried beneath layers of sediment dated over 2,000 years old. Attempts to decipher the writing failed. Attempts to analyze the metal composition produced results that contradicted one another. Every test seemed to insist two truths simultaneously: that the object was ancient and that it should not exist. Meanwhile, an astronomer standing alone in a remote observatory raised his head instinctively as the desert around him flashed white. At first, he believed it was lightning, but the sky remained cloudless and clear. Reviewing the footage from his telescopes, he noticed a burst of light on the horizon, brief, controlled, almost deliberate. The light had intensity, but no origin point. It left no trail, no lingering glow, and no identifiable source. When he later submitted the recording to academic institutions, they dismissed it as an equipment malfunction. But he had seen it with his own eyes. Seconds mattered in his story, and the time stop he provided would become more important than any scientific conclusion. Across an ocean, a man long presumed dead walked into a fishing village, exhausted, dehydrated, and silent. He had disappeared years earlier during an expedition, and despite rescue efforts, no trace of him or his team had ever been found. Yet here he was, wearing the same clothing from the day he vanished, as if no time had passed at all. His family, terrified and overjoyed, tried to question him, but his confusion was overwhelming. He remembered setting out on his expedition. He remembered the storm, and then nothing. He claimed that only a single day had passed since he was lost, but medical examinations later suggested an odd truth. His body had not aged during his disappearance. His return was documented thoroughly, and again his story was marked with a timestamp identical to the ship sighting, the disk discovery, and the flash in the desert. In a small European village, the church bells rang unexpectedly as every mechanical clock within the town center froze in unison. Villagers would later swear by this detail. The clocks did not slow or malfunction. They stopped as if intentionally paused. When repairmen attempted to restart them, they found no mechanical fault. Some clocks spontaneously resumed operation hours later, while others needed no repair at all. Simply rewinding the time made them function again. The phenomenon became a minor legend in the village for decades, but only later did historians notice the matching time stop. A remote glacial region recorded a sudden, localized thaw that exposed artifacts preserved with impossible perfection. Tools, clothing, and organic materials emerged, appearing untouched by time. The thaw occurred within a single hour, then refroze just as abruptly, leaving researchers baffled. Carbon dating of the artifacts produced a strange inconsistency. They seemed to belong to vastly different eras, as if time had folded temporarily around them. And finally, the most perplexing discovery: a sealed letter found inside a private archive belonging to a noble family. The letter, written centuries earlier, referenced both a ship that would return without souls, a burst of light upon the desert, and the clocks that forget to move. Scholars dismissed it as allegory until the matching date, written at the bottom of the page, revealed the impossible. The date was the same as all the other events. When compared with modern accounts, the descriptions aligned perfectly. As researchers brought these 7 events together, they realized the magnitude of the anomaly. the same day, the same hour, the same instant. 7 events, each inexplicable on its own, but collectively forming a pattern so coherent that it bordered on purposeful. Some argued for an astronomical cause, perhaps a burst of cosmic radiation. Others suggested geological disturbances or electromagnetic fluctuations. But none of these theories explained the depth of the synchronicity, nor the symbolic echo between the events. The curious part is that every attempt to construct a rational explanation ultimately collapses on the same problem. How can unrelated phenomena occurring on different continents, under different conditions, affecting different systems, human, mechanical, geological, archaeological, share the same time stop and narrative shape? It is as if a thread briefly revealed itself, connecting parts of the world through an invisible pattern before vanishing again. Even today, historians hesitate to make definitive statements about the anomaly. Many prefer to avoid the subject entirely. But those who study it closely agree on one thing: coincidences of this scale do not simply happen. Something acted on that day, something subtle, something we do not yet understand, something that left behind physical marks but no clear fingerprints. Whether it was a natural force yet undiscovered, a quirk of time, or simply an alignment of improbable events, the truth remains elusive. What makes this story endure is not just the events themselves, but the way they mirror one another. A ship returns while a man emerges from nowhere. A disk is unearthed while a letter written centuries earlier predicts the moment. Light flashes in the desert while clocks forget to move. It feels less like chaos and more like an intentional message written across the surface of history, one we have only partially decoded. To this day, the time stop at the center of the anomaly is studied by physicists, historians, astronomers, and researchers of the unexplained. Some believe the events will repeat. Others insist the moment was unique and unrepeatable. But all agree that on that strange, quiet day, the world briefly revealed how interconnected it truly is, and how much we still do not understand about the forces that shape our reality. Whether the events were coincidence, fate, or an unseen phenomenon passing silently through the fabric of time, one thing is certain: history recorded the moment. And history never forgets what it records.